Good afternoon, everybody. It is meteorologist is weather forecast, and welcome back to another tropical weather update, guys. So, guys, again, if you can tell by the title, going to be an update on Major Hurricane Barbara. So, guys, it is looking like Barbara is still continuing to grow, and then looking like it's going to weaken sooner or later. But it is looking like it's going to get a bit bigger, maybe up to maybe 20 more knots, and then it's looking like it's going to start weakening for the next couple of days. So it's not looking like a big threat to get a category 5 though, but it is getting awfully close to a category 5 though. So that's the thing we really need to watch out for, because you never know, it might peak in category 5 for a couple hours. So guys, if you guys want to know all the new updates on the track, on the cone, the timing, all on the vorticity and the wind and the impacts on Hawaii, guys, that'll all come right up. Alright guys, so you can tell we're going to be looking at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And here is Barbara right here. You can see it's at 140 miles per hour wind. As you can tell, it has grown. It was at, last time we checked, it was at, I believe, at 130 miles per hour. Now it's at 145. So that is showing you guys that it is growing a lot more. And then it is at 939 millibars. Last time we checked, it was 941. So again, you can tell it is getting a bit stronger. It's getting a bit more stronger than we expected. We thought it was going to get stronger in the afternoon yesterday, and then the wind started to decrease by this morning. But that's not the case now. So it is looking like it's going to get a bit stronger by tonight, and then looking like it should weaken by tomorrow, July 4th. So guys, stay tuned for that. I'm going to try to upload tomorrow on July 4th, guys, because I really want you guys to have all the updates tomorrow. And I'm also, later today, I'm going to have a July 4th forecast. Alright guys, so that's Barbara, and it is moving now a bit slower. So that's why it's getting stronger here, because it is decreasing of movement. Now it's at moving 10 miles per hour wind instead of 15. So now it is moving a lot slower. And so it's going to stay in these warm waters for a bit more. And then once it gets its speed back, it's going to go into these colder waters near the Hawaii area and start to looking like it's going to get to a category 3, then category 2, then looking like it's going to even get to a depression before it even hits Hawaii. So it was a big jump scare for a little bit, but now it's looking like it's going to really only hit a Hawaii as a big or a very small tropical storm or a depression. So now we're going to be looking at this this satellite imagery. As you can tell, it's really big now. You can really see the eye is a lot bigger. Oops, I got to use the other color. I forgot. As you can tell, the eye is a lot bigger. Oh, it's moving so fast, it really sucks. Alright, it's the eye's a lot bigger in this area. That little circle area that you see with the around the darkest colors right here, that's the eye. If you're wondering, isn't the eye the worst? No, the eye is actually one of the best parts of the hurricane, because you have no storms whatsoever. It's partly cloudy, sometimes clear skies, and then but also it really sucks if you're near the eye, because once you're done with the eye, you have to go through the eye wall, which is the worst part of the hurricane. That's where you see the strongest winds with those gusts, and then you can actually tell how strong it is. Let me try to get this good. You can see how dark these colors are. That is not really good. You don't want to see that. Yesterday, it was at some pink colors like next to the eye wall. And then these colors, you can actually, these are the outer bands here, like you really see with hurricanes. The outer bands that bring the extra amount of rain. It brings the rain before and after the major part of the hurricane goes through. This is where you really see the worst of the rain near that eye wall. This is where you see some light to moderate rain. So that's why there's huge flooding threats for hurricanes, because they have those outer bands that could bring in additionally maybe up to 5 inches there. We actually do have a very strong band though for we do have very strong storms out here in this band right here. You do really have some dark colors compared to what you usually see in some bands. We also have other strong big colors coming in for these areas. Look like we're going to have, that's a sign of getting a bit more organized and a lot more stronger. Now we're going to be looking at this satellite imagery, and this one shows this hurricane being a lot bigger, guys. It's showing very organized for the past couple hours. As you can tell, the first part of the satellite imagery, the hurricane is very small. Here, let me get this. As you can tell, it is very small. It was like up to this size right here. The outer, this was the center part of the hurricane, not including the outer bands. And now if you look at it, the center of the hurricane now, it's up to here. A lot bigger, as you can tell. It has gotten a lot stronger. The eye has gotten a lot stronger, which also means it's getting a lot more organized. You can really see the vorticity, guys. We did talk about this vorticity, and you really see that rotation going around the center part. You see it moving. It is moving into the west, but we're going to have vorticity being just rotating a lot, and you're going to have all that movement there. And then we do have the outer bands again right here. Let me get my color here. We do have these outer bands that do bring that extra rain. We do have the biggest outer bands out here in this part of we do have it out into the east part of the hurricane. That's where we're looking at. We're going to have a very heavy rain for part of that band. This is going to be the worst part of the band. This is obviously going to be the eyewall's obviously the worst part of the hurricane. But this is looking like it's going to be the worst part of the band, or the outer band. That's looking like there. Alright guys, so now we're going to be looking at the cone and the timing. As you can tell, you do see Hawaii now. So as you can tell, it is at 5 a.m. It was right here in this X, and that's where you do see the brownish kind of color. That's hurricane wind extent. So you do see it's right there. It is a lot bigger than yesterday. The wind extent for hurricanes, it was a bit smaller yesterday. It was a very small circle, but not. I know it's not really big, but it's a lot bigger than yesterday. And then here is where you see in this yellow kind of color, orange yellow color together. That's where you see that tropical storm. So that's where you see the outer bands right there, and then this is where you see the eye wall. So as you can tell, it's going to be a major hurricane for most of today, and then for very early tomorrow. So it's going to be a major hurricane by July 4th, the morning of July 4th. But look, guys, I did say it was looking like it's going to weak by July 4th. There it gets to less than a major hurricane, so that means it's either a category 2 or below. So it did drop a lot. It looking like it's going to get to category 4 to category 2. That's the difference in between cold waters and warm waters, especially since it's so slow moving. This can take a couple hours, or maybe, as you can tell, it did take 12 hours to move that much. Then it's going to get even maybe possibly to a very weak category 1, or sorry, a very weak category 2 to a very strong category 1 by 2 a.m. Friday. And then it's going to be getting to a tropical storm by 2 a.m. Saturday. So it does change a lot in the next couple of days. So here's the cone for the next 1 to 3 days. In 3 days, it goes, guys, can you imagine this? It goes in 3 days from a category 4, very close to category 5, to a tropical storm. That is completely crazy, guys. It's not, I don't want to say cool, but it's also very strange to see that. You can really see what the impacts cold water have on slow moving storms. And then this transparent cone, this is a lot bigger, is 4 to 5 days, so it's harder to track there. It does look like part of the Big Island can be in this transparent cone here. Then it's going to be a tropical storm on Sunday, and then it's looking like it's going to do to depression by Monday. So I told you guys it is going to weaken quite drastically, guys. Oops, did not mean to do that. So that's the cone and the timing. And I'd be looking at the wind probability of tropical storm cyclones, or being a tropical storm cyclone. So you can see in this pink color, it is a 90% chance of at least having the winds at least at a tropical storm here. So it does have a 90% chance to 100 all the way up to here. So that's where you see it does start to it does become a very strong a very weak category 1, and then you see it goes on. So this is why I circle where it is. So as it goes on to its track, as it does go on, the probability of having more than tropical storm winds does decrease. We actually have over here up to 60 to 70% chance. So it's looking like it's starting to weaken there. So as you can tell, it does weaken there. So let's do this again. And then as more over here in this yellow and orange, it does get to 30 to 50% chance. So it does decrease again. And then when it reaches over here, up to 5% chance. So guys, as you can tell, it is going to be very low chance of having tropical storm winds. As it gets to Hawaii, it's going to have more of a depression. So yeah. So guys, now we'll be looking at the model intensity guidance. I know it did take a bit longer to show it in this video. I do apologize, but you can tell it is right here. The models are not showing it. None of the models are showing it going a bit rising up to a very strong category 4 here. But it is showing it still staying to a category 4 for a couple more hours, like I said, all the way to tomorrow by 2 p.m. I'm going to try to have an update in the morning, maybe 11 a.m. to maybe 12 p.m. Tomorrow for this, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to do a double O tomorrow, because remember it's July 4th. And then showing these numbers are really going to drop very fast, guys, because it's going cold water, it's very slow moving. It's going to go right through category 3, right down to category 2. Some models actually staying here, but not really. It's always the UK that shows it moving out here, going really to a category 1, very weak category 1, and then it reaches this point where it just gets to these lower probabilities of tropical storm winds, and then all of them really show it going out here by to a depression, and then just some really just a invest, and then a system really got, it's just remnants really of Barbara by this point, or at that point by the time it gets to Hawaii. So that is really up, not really looking like the models are showing it category 5. It is very low. There was a low probability of it actually getting to a category 5, guys. But again, it was getting awfully close, and it is very close. It's at 145 miles per hour, guys. This is not just for you know, guys. Some action. This CEM2 does show it getting a bit stronger, just by a couple knots there, maybe just 4 knots or 5 knots there. But yeah, that's what it's looking like there. Now to be looking at the wind now. Again, this will show you how it does intensify. So you can tell right now the maximum winds are 104 knots there. Let's just quickly look at this. It is a lot organized. It's as you can tell, like 3 times the size of Hawaii, maybe even 4 times if you add these outer bands there. And then we're gonna have that eye wall right. I'm trying to get it right there, very close though. So that, and then this is we're gonna have that eye wall formation here. We're gonna have the worst of it there, that 104 knots. That's right now, guys, at 104 knots. As we go on, 12 hours, 114 knots. So you do see the European does show it intensifying a bit. So you do see that formation there. It is looking like it is gonna start to weaken after this. So as it spills out more to the Central Pacific. You can tell it does get to 117 knots though, 109, 108, 98, then goes to 80. So you can tell it really did weaken a lot. Then it goes to 72, getting very close to. This is basically I will say a medium category 1, getting very low to a very to a low category 1, and at this point it gets to 66 knots, which is very 64 64 knots, 53 knots, 44 knots. That is getting up to a tropical storm, very close to depression there. Really see these very light colors there, so which just indicates it is a lot weaker, a lot more disorganized. As you can tell, it's really disorganized. And then it's looking like it's gonna start hitting Hawaii a lot later than we. A lot earlier than we thought. Now it's showing that maybe bringing some light rain by the 8th of July instead of maybe the 12th, and then it's gonna be making an impact by the 9th, and then it's gonna be ripping through the 10th. And then it should be gone. We should not really have any more systems looking to be very high category 4 or major hurricane. Now I've been looking at the vorticity now. So as you can tell, it is a lot more organized right now. It is really a major category 4 there. It is making its way to the north. It's going to be making that north, going straight to the north. But then again, just make that weird turn to the west. By the time we get to the 7th of July, if you look at the vorticity, it does show it getting really far out for 7th of July. Then it moves very fast for the 8th to the 8th of July. It does move really fast now. And then by the 9th of July, it does make that impact there. A lot of vorticity out there for the areas of the Big Island, and then just rips through away. So that was it. Now we'll be looking at this quickly. This radar right here. I'm not sure if it's actually going to get there in time because it had to reload there. But as you can tell, we'll be looking at the GFS here. Now, as you can tell, it's at 977 977 millibars. It is at that point getting stronger. Not really far from now of making getting weaker. It does get to 998. And then again, it does get to 1,008, and then it looks like it's going to be really weak by the time it hits Hawaii. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this update. Please do not forget to like and subscribe for the daily tropical updates and for the daily weather updates too. So guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please do not forget to like and subscribe. Bye guys.